You think it's just a glance, just a thought, just a feeling. But that's how it starts. Lust doesn't come crashing into your life like a storm. It creeps in quietly, slipping through your eyes, settling in your mind, and before you even realize it, it takes your heart captive. Look around. How many men have fallen? How many great men, strong, powerful, respected, have lost everything because they couldn't control their desires? Lust doesn't just weaken a man, it blinds him. It blinds him to the woman God made for him. It blinds him to the future he was meant to build. It blinds him to the very blessings meant to shape his life. God didn't create women to be objects of desire. He created them to be cherished, honored, and respected. But a man consumed by lust cannot see a woman's true value. To him, she is a moment, not a lifetime. A body, not a soul. Pleasure, not purpose. And when a man starts seeing women through the lens of lust, he loses the ability to love the way God intended. He will chase beauty but never loyalty, pleasure but never peace. And before he knows it, his life, his home, his soul will begin to crumble. Lust is a master of deception. It whispers that it's harmless, just a fleeting thought, just a little indulgence, just something to satisfy the moment. But what it never tells you is that it doesn't stop there. Lust is never full. It always wants more. It makes a man restless, unsatisfied, constantly chasing something he can never truly grasp. A man consumed by lust believes he is missing something, even when he has everything. He will have a faithful wife but still feel the need to look elsewhere. He will have a blessed home but still feel empty inside. Lust doesn't just weaken a man, it rewires his mind. It makes him crave what he cannot have, obsess over what is not his, and throw away what God has already given him. He will chase beauty but never find loyalty. He will chase pleasure but never experience peace. He will chase women but never find a wife, and even if he does, his lust will not leave him. It will sit in the corners of his mind, whispering, feeding his discontent, making him believe that somewhere, something better exists. And that's the greatest deception of lust. It makes a man believe he is in control, when in reality, he is enslaved. He feeds his desires, thinking they will satisfy him, but they only make him hungrier. He gives in to his impulses, believing it's just a harmless indulgence. But every indulgence is another chain around his soul. He thinks he is gaining pleasure, but in truth, he is losing everything. His strength, his clarity, his purpose. Lust strips a man of all these things. And the worst part, he won't even realize it until it's too late. A man ruled by lust is a man walking toward his own destruction. He thinks his desires affect only him, that his choices are his alone. But lust never stops at just one man. It spreads like a disease, infecting everyone around him. A husband who cannot control his eyes will soon find his heart drifting. His mind will no longer be present in his home, and his wife, who once trusted him, who once felt safe in his love, will begin to feel invisible. She will feel unworthy, unloved, and eventually broken. And a broken wife becomes a distant wife. A woman who no longer smiles the same, no longer prays the same, no longer looks at her husband with the same admiration she once had. His children will notice. A distracted father teaches his daughter that men cannot be trusted. He teaches his son that discipline is not important, that it's acceptable to chase pleasure over responsibility. A father who is ruled by lust will never raise a son who is ruled by faith. He will pass down his struggles, his weaknesses, his failures, and before he knows it, the cycle will repeat. Generations of men falling into the same sin, walking the same road of regret, wondering why their lives feel so empty, why their families fall apart, why their souls never feel at peace. And when everything comes crashing down, what does he have left? Shame, regret, emptiness. A man who once had a wife who loved him, children who looked up to him, a home blessed by God, now sits alone, looking at the ruins of what he destroyed with his own hands. His pursuit of fleeting pleasure cost him everything permanent. His search for something better made him lose what was best. This is the final destination of a man controlled by lust. He will always lose more than he gains. He will always end up emptier than when he started. He will always look back and wish he had chosen differently. But by then, it may be too late. Because some things once broken cannot be repaired. Some wounds once inflicted take a lifetime to heal, and some losses once suffered will haunt a man forever. Lust may feel overpowering, but it is not invincible. It thrives on what you feed it, and the moment you decide to starve it, its grip begins to weaken. The first step to breaking free is recognizing that lust is not just a habit, it's a spiritual battle. You are not simply fighting your flesh. You are fighting forces that want to keep you enslaved, forces that want to rob you of your strength, your purpose, and your faith. And the only way to win is to cut off the supply. First, starve it. Lust enters through your eyes, so guard them. What you watch, what you scroll through, what you entertain, it all feeds your desires. Stop excusing it. That harmless content on social media, it's bait. That lingering glance, it's a seed. Every little compromise is another chain keeping you bound. Unfollow the accounts, stop watching the videos, press not interested, cut off the source, and you cut off its power. Second, feed your faith. Your mind is shaped by what you consume. Garbage in, garbage out. If you are surrounded by temptation, you will fall. But if you surround yourself with godly wisdom, you will grow. Start filling your life with things that strengthen your spirit, sermons, testimonies, scripture. Renew your mind daily, because if you don't fill your heart with God, the world will fill it with sin. Third, start living with purpose. A man consumed by lust is often a man with an idle mind. He wastes time, scrolling endlessly, waiting for life to change while he drowns in his own destruction. No wonder he feels weak. No wonder lust controls him. But when a man starts moving, when he builds himself physically, mentally, and spiritually, he doesn't have time for distractions. Go to the gym, learn a new skill, focus on your calling, surround yourself with men who push you to be better. Because a man on a mission has no time for lust. Finally, guard your eyes like your life depends on it, because it does. Lust enters through sight. If you don't see it, you won't crave it. If you don't feed it, it will die. The battle starts with your vision. Win it there, and you win everywhere else. Lust is a fire, and for too long you've been pouring gasoline on it. Cut off its air supply. Let it suffocate. Let it die. That is where real power lies. Lust promises pleasure, but delivers pain. It disguises itself as freedom, but leaves you enslaved. It convinces you that you are in control, while it quietly destroys everything God has given you: your peace, your relationships, your purpose. But here's the truth. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to stay trapped. You don't have to be a slave to your own desires. The moment you decide to stop feeding lust is the moment you take your power back. The moment you choose discipline over indulgence, purpose over pleasure, purity over corruption, that's when real freedom begins. Because purity is not just about avoiding sin, it's about unlocking the life God intended for you. A life where you are strong, not weak. Where your heart is at peace, not in turmoil. Where you build a future instead of destroying one. Lust has taken enough from you. It has stolen your time, your energy, your focus. It has robbed you of intimacy, integrity, and self-respect. But it doesn't have to take anything more. The best way to end it is to starve it. No reaction, no attention, no feeding it. That's where true power lies. That's where true freedom begins.